Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
It is Tuesday, the 26th day of July 2022. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight. My name is Rukidi Kiijanangoma. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. President Yoweri Museveni hosts Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, promises strengthened ties with Uganda. Equity Bank to create more jobs through generating financial solutions. Norbert Mao to be sworn in as Justice Minister on Wednesday. And Uganda team go through final pieces ahead of Commonwealth Games. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you on live on air and online from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue, and let's get started. President Yoweri Museveni has stressed that Uganda will not be drawn into the global geopolitical wars, adding that Uganda is in a position of making informed decisions on who to work with. Museveni said this while meeting Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at State House in Entebbe. Let's get more in this report.
The Russian Foreign Affairs Minister, who is on the third leg of his African visit, was received by Foreign Affairs Minister Jeje Odong on arrival at State House in Entebbe before going in for closed-door bilateral talks with President Yoweri Museveni. Addressing journalists shortly after the meeting, President Museveni revealed that they held fruitful talks with his guest. Museveni, who spoke in detail about Russia and Africa's relations, thanked Russia for standing with Africa for the last 100 years, more especially during the anti-colonial movement.
Whenever issues come up, and some people want us to take positions against Russia, we say, but you people, these people have been with us for the last 100 years. How can we be automatically against them? We have even forgiven our former enemies, the colonialists, the ones who had colonized us, the ones who had actually taken slaves from here and did bad things. We have forgiven them and we are working with them. How can we be against somebody who has never harmed us and who instead helped us?
He says this strong bond can't be easily shredded.
We don't believe in being enemies of somebody's enemy. No, we want to make our own enemies, not fight other people's enemies. This is our doctrine. When there was the Cold War, one day they asked me a question. Are you pro-East or pro-West? I said, you must think I am an idiot. Why do you think my main job is to be pro somebody? I am pro myself. And I deal with all other people according to how they relate with my own interests. These people think we are stupid. Such a question is an idiot question. It's not my job to be pro-East or pro-West. I am pro myself.
Museveni also revealed that Uganda is now looking at strengthening trade relations with Russia.
But now we have added new areas. The Joint Permanent Commission is going to meet in October and go into the details of the areas we can cooperate in. Go to Russia through Western Europe, but we can now deal directly with you. And then we have also talked of cooperation or cooperating in space science. Uganda would like to have its own small satellite to see what is happening around the globe. Then nuclear energy.
On his part, Lavrov, who is the first high-ranking Russian official to visit Uganda, highlighted the areas of cooperation Uganda has enjoyed with Russia over the years.
A few hours with Mr. President having an intense and fruitful discussion. We have covered all the aspects of our cooperation in line with the agreements reached between the presidents of our states, and we have discussed the regional context, the settlement of African crises, as well as the international agenda.
The Russian Foreign Affairs Minister, who was speaking through a translator, blamed the oppressive sanctions by the West when he was asked about the increasing global food prices. He added that Russia is ready to negotiate with Ukraine so as to find a lasting solution to this impasse.
Ukrainian offered us to start the talks, and we accepted. There were a few rounds of those talks, and on the 29th of March in Istanbul, the Ukrainian side came up with the draft agreement, which we supported. But later on, there were no further answer from Ukrainians, and it is really important because we accepted that, and we accepted to work on the Ukrainian proposal, the Ukrainian approach, but later on the United States, the United Kingdom and some European countries simply prohibited Ukraine to negotiate with us.
Lavrov's visit comes at a time when Russia is soon hosting the Russia-Africa Summit, and according to Moscow, African nations' role is set to be enhanced in Russia's new international relations policy. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
The Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, has appealed to Boda riders to embrace the ongoing registration process of Boda riders to help streamline the sector. Nabanja says the exercise is aimed at creating order, eradicate criminality and tax evasion in the sector.
Prime Minister Robina Nabanja has appealed to motorcycle riders to take advantage of the ongoing registration to regularize their business identity.
Okulaba nga tulongoosa omulimu guno namwe mukuganyulwemu nga bannannyinigo. Reports ziraga nti ebitundu 5 ku buli 100 mu ggwanga lyonna aba boda be basinga okukola accident. Bw'ogenda e Mulago mugendayoko. Mu Kampala wano ebitundu 8 aba accident abali e Mulago bava ku boda. Abamu bafudde, abamu tebalina magulu. Kale nabwe ekityo ne kyetaaga tusomeseeko. Omuntu amanye sign posts ategeere nti kano ka aro kategeeza nti eyo sigendayo. Oba tuli ffenna?
This is aimed at cleaning the operations of the boda sector in the country. Nabanja said this during a consultative meeting with motorcyclists, also known as boda riders in Kampala, where she received a report on the sector's management.
Waliwo abafunira mu buvuyo kakati ye buli kaseera buli lwalaba program ne bwe bange egasa abantu bonna ayagala agitegemu akavuyo afune mu political. So tusaba abakulembeze bonna bawagire ekintu kino kubanga kya bulungi bwa muntu yenna. Tukendeza accident, tukendeza abatemu mu Kampala.
The Minister for Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Amara, said the ministry reviewed registration charges and licensing fee, which he says is affordable.
Tusaba government ekkirize tuzikendeeze nti eyo mwaka ogumu eve ku mitwalo 5 ekitundu ebere ku mitwalo 27 mu 5 ey'emyaka 3 eve ku mitwalo 15 ebere ku mitwalo 7.5 ey'emyaka 5 eve ku mitwalo 25 egende ku mitwalo 12.5 nga tulowooza nti ezo ssente aba bodaboda bajja kukola ki bajja zisobola.
Kampala Affairs Minister Minsa Kabanda appealed for more investment in boda industry, including its circles for growth.
Nenga twagala mama otukwatireko abantu bano balina sako zaabwe zibalimu esobola okuba ate okubongera yawaki awalala n'okwewola pichi bazeewola ne bavuga emyaka 3 ng'omuntu amwa mutwalo gumu n'ekitundu agenda okugimujjako ng'amuga nti gwezanga ozimazeeyo nga pichi yekaddiye nga tekyasobola kukola ki kwate kukola.
Kampala RCC Amina Lukanga warned the riders against forgery.
Tokola ensobi n'ofuujinga ID akokwogera mpola kuba kaffe fenga by'okwerinda tokola ensobi n'ofuujinga ekipapula kyo nekikwatagana ku programu eyo. Ogenda kuba suspect omutujju koba omanyi okola omulimu omutuufu lwaki weekweka.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
To Soroti now, where National Resistance Movement has held its last mega rally at Arrow Grounds in Soroti, calling on voters to elect its party flag bearer, Herbert Ariko. Led by Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, leaders called on voters to elect a development-oriented leader in Herbert Ariko, other than voting propaganda. The mega rally, held at Arrow Grounds in Soroti City Centre, was graced by Uganda's leading musician Joseph Chameleon, also known as Jose Chameleon, alongside others, including DJ Michael.
I have come to this campaign. I am not a member of the National Resistance Movement. I am not here to cross to the NRM. I am an independent member of Parliament. But I joined this campaign. I am attracted to this campaign because of one man, the Honorable Herbert Ariko. I joined this campaign because of politics of decency, politics of humility, politics of bargain, politics of negotiation, and politics of lobbying. I see that in the Honorable Herbert Ariko.
For me, as leader of government business, you have already seen me on the floor of Parliament answering the questions from all over the country.
Yes, I
have never received any question from Soroti. In 1 year since when I became a prime minister, my brother Tani has never told me anything to do with Soroti. By the way, don't even know him. My sister, I'm told there is a sister here. The woman MP of Soroti City. I have never seen her any question. I also don't know her. Because the system is clear. At least you can remove those members of opposition from Parliament. I have never seen Atari talk in Parliament. I have never seen him speak. I have never.
will remain in Soroti momentarily, where former president of Forum for Democratic Change, FDC party, Dr. Kizza Besigye, has rallied Soroti behind joining hands to send back Moses Atan to Parliament as Soroti East representative. Besigye was also joined by National Unity Platform President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to campaign for Moses Atan in the upcoming Soroti East by-election. Flanked by other FDC officials, including party president Patrick Oboya-Muriat, they both called on voters to speak with one voice come Thursday. Take a watch.
I want to sound a strong warning to NRM functionaries, to the military and to the police, to the intelligence services, to the many idol RDCs who are now roaming around here, that you play with a dance vote, you play with the FDC vote, you will be touching fire, you will be touching a high voltage wire. Now, in this by-election, we should never have been there. There was no reason for this by-election. This by-election is not because Atan did not win. Nobody says Atan did not win. Including Gariko, he does not say Atan did not win. But he's here looking for a vote to replace somebody who he says he won. So it would have been okay if I found him here still as a candidate of independent. But I was surprised to find him as a candidate of NRM. The NRM he spent many years telling you was a terrible thing. Now I heard him last night on TV saying we in NRM government, as if he has been in NRM government.
In the previous elections, we had a candidate as NUP and FDC had a candidate, and the FDC candidate won. So we want to listen to the voices of the people, and therefore we sat as National Unity Platform and we agreed that to win Museveni we must win when we are together.
Now, the Minister for the Presidency, Honorable Babiriye Mili Babalanda, has tasked the recently appointed resident district commissioners, RDCs, city resident commissioners, RCCs, and their deputies to serve Ugandans diligently, since they represent the image of the president in their respective districts and cities. The minister made the call as she officially opened the RCC's induction retreat at the National Leadership Institute in Kyankwanzi this morning. Minister Babalanda told the president's representatives that the RDC office is an important office because it performs the roles of His Excellency the President in the district. She revealed that their actions are critically considered as the action of the President. She appealed to them to strictly follow his statements word for word and be guided by them in their actions. Mrs. Babalanda also disclosed that the RDCs, RCCs and their deputies should focus on 10 areas of critical interest to government, which include, among others, representing the president and promoting his interests in their respective areas, representing and protecting government interests and policies in their respective areas, mobilizing for total community security, as well as deeply mobilizing and sensitizing the population for enhanced households. The induction retreat started on Monday this week and will run up to the 31st of July 2022. Several facilitators are expected to guide and lecture the RDCs and RCCs and their deputies on how to properly execute their duties.
Insulated of any malicious targeting. RDCs, RCCs, deputy RDCs and deputy RCCs are tasked to focus on 10 areas of critical interest to government, and these are
The Minister Designate for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, will be sworn in on Wednesday this week at State House Entebbe, following his appointment by President Yoweri Museveni and parliamentary approval. The Democratic Party president, while addressing the media, pledged constitutional reforms as some of the ideas that he will recommend to government.
The Democratic Party President Norbert Mao will be sworn in on Wednesday this week as the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, following his appointment by President last week.
And thereafter, the Parliament will invite me to be sworn in as an ex-officio MP without a constituency. Because when you are ex-officio, you are there by virtue of being a member of the executive.
Amid these contestations from the opposition about his appointment, Mao pledges to advise government on possible solutions to address issues of political prisoners.
We have a lot of alternative policies on the issues of national dialogue, on presidential transition, on constitutional reforms. We have a lot of ideas on that. It is our duty to make those recommendations to the government.
Mao commits to speak to all party members who feel dissatisfied by the agreement, following dissenting voices from his own party DP that the President General never consulted party leadership when he committed the party to what many political analysts have described as a marriage of convenience between DP and the ruling NRM government.
That I never consulted you one by one. I'll have the opportunity to explain myself, and I expect that you'll understand.
The signing of the agreement between Democratic Party and government received mixed reactions from different political parties, wondering whether the DP will still remain the same. However, splinter groups in the Democratic Party started taking center stage in the run-up to the 2021 general elections, when DP MPs defected to a newly created party, then the National Unity Platform of Robert Kyagulanyi, accusing Norbert Mao of having caused internal strifes in the DP. Marian Womcha, UBC.
Now, Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs Minister Hajat Misa Kabanda has urged corporate companies and organizations operating around Luzira to consider an earmarking of a small budget of their profits as part of the social responsibility to give back to the vulnerable community, especially in area of safe water, hygiene and sanitation. The minister was today commissioning 2 sanitation facilities in Karamoja zone and Port Bell landing sites respectively, donated by Uganda Breweries as part of the company's Society 2030 Sustainability Action Plan.
Kampala Metropolitan Affairs Minister Hajat Misa Kabanda has challenged corporate companies and organizations operating in and around Luzira to consider earmarking at least a small portion of their profits to improve the living conditions of the vulnerable communities in the area. The minister was unveiling a modern toilet facility in Kamwanyi zone and a modern fishing vending and kitchen facility constructed and donated by Uganda Breweries Limited.
Corporate companies to come and assist us because they are working in the community, they have to give back to the community. So they should also come and give back to the community.
Uganda Breweries contracted Tropical Ventures Construction Company to put up the two facilities at a cost of 191 million Uganda shillings.
We've done our job, sponsored by UBL. So what I advise and I tell the people, the stakeholders, especially the people who are going to be using the facilities, to keep them clean and maintain them because they are modern compared to what they've been using.
However, the beneficiary fish dealers reported to the minister and the area MP Ronald Balimwezo regarding some people who want to fraudulently take away the landing site.
As a leader, I'm not going to accept them to take the only landing site that we have this site. They are land grabbers, and as such are going to be treated the same. I want to applaud the Minister of Lands, whom I've already, by the way, informed about this, and he promised to make sure that we cancel out that title.
The Uganda Breweries officials Julian Kagwa and Alfred Balikajira said the donation is part of the company's Society 2030 Sustainability Action Plan geared at improving the livelihoods of vulnerable communities by the year 2030. Juko Collins, UBC News.
Now, a section of Boda operators under their umbrella of Team Muhoozi Boda Initiative Uganda has unveiled a new cycle windscreen bearing a portrait of the Commander Land Forces Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. According to these riders, the move is among items seeking to offer wide awareness of the two-star general to the public. Onyango reports.
For quite a long time, many cyclists around Kampala have been spotted holding modified windscreen onto their cycles. These are bearing the portraits of Commander Land Forces Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. The screen has finally been unveiled to members of the public.
Team Muhoozi Boda embeera ze n'ebikolwa bye bitwegombesa okuba ntutumwaga.
We as the youth in Bodas, we decided now to move with the General Kainerugaba just because he's our age mate. You get a point? So he's the only person who can understand the language of the youth.
Although Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has not yet publicly unveiled his political ambition, these cyclists couldn't hold back on his awaited break of silence.
Joli abalamu twagenda e Rushere apikipiki nga 200 ne tugenda okulaga n'abe Rushere nti e Kampala abavubuka bangi gye bali abakkiriza mu General Muhoozi abakkiriza mu General Tibuhabulwa ajjajjaffe. Tetwakomye okwo twakkaanyiza ne bannaffe nti tulina okusitula embeera z'abavubuka bannaffe nga General Muhoozi akola ng'empagi mu ffe.
The team acknowledges that such efforts are aimed at reminding Ugandans about the commendable services Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has offered to Uganda and the continent.
You can now remove your goods from Uganda, you take them to Katuna border, you cross over to Rwanda. So he's a very good man, he's a younger man, very intelligent, and we are very ready to work with him. So now that's why we decided now, since he's a younger boy, let him come and support us development wise in our borders.
However, riders with motorcycles bearing Muhoozi's portraits are being reminded to maintain discipline in line of their duties.
Don't call two passengers because you have the signpost of the what? Of the general. Please, we expect every person who is having this image, this picture of the general, please behave very well.
Since his birthday celebrations this year, hundreds of well-wishers have so far come on board and shown interest in working closely with the commander, Land Forces Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria, has called for a joint effort in the fight against corruption in local government and other government bodies. Now, she has attributed corruption in Uganda to COVID-19 pandemic as a wave that is squeezing life out of the country. Now, this was during an interaction with community monitors of corruption, local government leaders, camp commandants, and representatives from the civil society organization in West Nile region.
The Inspectorate of Government is taking a new strategy in its campaign against corruption by empowering citizens to be watchdogs on behalf of IG in villages through transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption program. The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria, led the IG team to Koboko and Aroa to engage community monitors and other local government leaders for the cause.
The government of Uganda has got a robust policy, institutional and legal framework to fight against corruption. But despite of all those mechanisms, corruption has continued to thrive in the country. As the Inspectorate of Government, we have decided to refocus the fight against corruption by taking the war against corruption to the people, to the citizens of Uganda.
Okiria said citizens suffer consequences of corruption more, a reason the war against corruption is being to them.
Why are we taking this to the people? Because it is the people, the ordinary person, who is a victim of corruption. The citizen is that person who goes to the hospital and finds the drugs have been stolen. And the Inspectorate of Government cannot be everywhere in the country. And that is why we need the community monitoring groups on the ground.
She attributed corruption to COVID-19 because the two negatively affects development of the nation.
Because when you look at corruption, it has got the ability of squeezing life out of the state. And COVID-19 also has the ability of squeezing life out of the state by killing the citizens who should be paying taxes.
According to Mayor of Koboko Municipality Wilson Sanya and Moyo District Chairman Williams Anyama, the initiative to involve community and local government leaders in detecting corruption has come timely when Parish Development Model Program is being rolled and pledged to support the IG.
So I expect that these community monitoring groups should be countrywide now, since the PDM is all over. They will give us the exact picture of what is happening with the implementation of the PDM. Because many times programs have failed because of not involving the community.
I want to pledge our commitment to work with you as an institution.
At least 4,012 community monitors in 15 districts and 13 refugee settlements in Uganda, where DRDIP projects and NUSAF projects have been implemented. According to IG report on DRDIP projects in refugee hosting districts in northern Uganda, there has been a lot of irregularities where budgets have been inflated by implementing partners, procurement processes, mismanaged as projects were being imposed on locals, among others.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2GB. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, with support from the United Nations Development Programme in Uganda, will host the joint launch of the National Multidimensional Poverty Index Report of 2022 and the National Stakeholders Validation of the Poverty Status Report of 2021 on Thursday the 28th of July 2022 at Kampala Serena Hotel, Katonga Hall, starting at 8 a.m. The guest of honor will be Honorable Amos Lugorobi, Minister of State for Planning. The MPI report measures multiple deprivations using various dimensions such as education, health, living standards, employment, and financial inclusion. The PSR focuses on jobs, informality, and poverty reduction in Uganda with insights on performance before and during the COVID-19. These reports are envisaged, amongst other things, to inform the NDP3 midterm review and national budgeting for the remaining period of the NDP3. The event will be hybrid with in-person attendance by invitation and strictly following COVID-19 standard operating procedures (SOPs). All other participants are invited to join via Zoom and live broadcast on UBC television. For more information, please contact Department of Media and Public Relations on 0773 342 128 or 0755 342 128.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenure of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
The Electoral Commission has appointed 21st Thursday to 26th Tuesday, July 2022 as the period for candidates' campaign meetings for the by-election of directly elected Member of Parliament for Soroti East Constituency and City Division directly elected Councillor for Pioneer Ward in Soroti City. During this period, candidates shall not use or publish any language or defamatory words which incite disorder, hatred, violence, or which threaten war. The Commission urges all candidates, their agents, and the public to adhere to the harmonized program and set rules and regulations guiding the campaign period. All persons participating in the by-election shall be required to comply with guidelines issued by the Electoral Commission in accordance with the Government of Uganda and Ministry of Health measures against the spread of COVID-19, which include social distancing, washing of hands, and wearing face masks.
Get
connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's a full-time job to be a great parent or guardian. The decisions we make impact their lives forever, and getting a birth certificate is one of the most important ones. All you need to do is get a birth notification record stamped by a medical officer from the hospital where the baby was born or from the sub-county chief in case it occurred at home. Go to the NERA offices in your area and present the notification record, copy of parent's ID and bank payment slip of 5,000 Ugandan shillings for citizens and $40 for non-citizens. Fill NERA Form 3 while there, and a birth certificate will be issued to you. Please note that birth certificates to refugees born in Uganda are free of charge. For more information, visit the NERA office closest to you or call 0800-211-700. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. To Karamoja now, where insecurity in Karamoja sub-region has reduced following launch of Operation Usalama kwa Wote since July last year. According to commanders, simultaneous operations across the 9 districts of Karamoja sub-region have resulted in more than 200 guns being recovered from rustlers during this time. Now, this was during a press conference attended by top security commanders from the UPDF and police from Karamoja sub-region, led by the 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikudembe.
It's now close to a year since UPDF and police anti-stock theft units launched Operation Usalama kwa Wote to end insecurity in Karamoja sub-region. According to the top security commanders from UPDF and police in Karamoja sub-region, the criminality has reduced in this 1 year.
Part of the reason why the region is silenced because of this correction. I told you we are attacking the centers of gravity of criminality within Karamoja.
The 3rd Division Commander, Brigadier General Joseph Balikudembe, says since mid-May this year, over 200 guns have been recovered.
Started the simultaneous operation on 16th May 2022. To date, we managed to recover 226 guns. In 2 months, 226 guns. This is a higher figure with a short period of time compared to the recovery of 212 guns recovered in 10 months.
In this over 1 year, some local council leaders were arrested and detained and others killed in possession of illegal guns.
Amongst the leaders that I talked about, one of the leaders who was killed in Napak together with others is called Lokure John Bosco, LCC chairperson, Lokopo sub-county, was arrested together with others, who are district councillor for Lokopo, Logit, Mario. They masterminded the killing of a Jiso in Lokopo, Napaka district. So they are under custody, and we are still searching for the trigger man who shot the...
Relatedly, some notorious warriors were also killed and others were arrested, which has led to the recovery of more guns from their groups.
AKA Museveni, a ringleader based in Kacheri sub-county, was arrested on 12th July 2022 and is responsible for ambushing a UPDF soldier who was riding a motorcycle in Kabong. On 22nd, he killed him His group is responsible for raids in Kabongo, Karenga, and parts of Agago. He's with us in jail and he is cooperating.
The top security commanders in Karamoja sub-region explains why notorious warrior Igira Nakolitodo, who calls himself Museveni handed in a gun, was detained.
Chuchu had left a bigger group behind and he came alone. That one was a lesson to us that Achuchu and many others who voluntarily surrender are not free as we may think that they have left criminality, which means they should help us to interrogate the matter properly and get out those ones that they have been working with.
They have handed in their guns. They don't have aspects which we are talking about. Somebody may come under duress, our duress of operation, and there are other criminality he has been engaged in, and we want more information from him. And at the end of the day, you never know, he might be released.
Meanwhile, the ASTU Commandant Arias Kasurabo narrates why commercialized rates have reduced.
The LOCs give letters, traceability letters. Previously, they were coming to markets to give those letters from markets, other than being in the village where animals are. Then, the district veterinary officers, on confirming that those that detail the number of animals somebody has sold, and looking at the traders, because the traders must have traders permits, and looking at the aspect of where those animals are going, that's when a district veterinary officer gives the movement permit.
However, the top commanders say they are challenged by leaders who plead for the release of notorious criminals, and others are involved in criminality. Since the beginning of Usalama kwa Wote, 438 guns recovered, 2,206 livestock were recovered out of 4,225, which was stolen, and several warriors killed, arrested, and prosecuted by the Division Court Martial.
That's the security situation in Karamoja sub-region. Now let's shift gears and turn to matters pertaining to the health sector. And Uganda is experiencing an increase in malaria cases with an overall 30% rise countrywide. According to the Ministry of Health, the increase in malaria cases started in 2021, but the peak was realized from March this year.
People are coming from the community. We are also moving to clinics and drug shops all over the country, encouraging them that all patients with severe malaria or any danger signs which they have seen, they should be quickly referred, because we have better facilities in the government health facilities, including blood transfusion, including IV fluids, injectable artesunate. So we'd like them not to hold the patients there.
The increasing cases of malaria in the country are a pointer that more control interventions are needed to complement the existing ones, like use of mosquito nets. The Ministry of Health admits that the increase in malaria cases started in 2021. However, the peak was recorded in March 2022, with almost all regions being affected.
We have had increase in up to 73 districts. However, right now we are experiencing the upsurges in 48 districts. A number of districts have gotten out of the upsurge, but districts at epidemic level are up to 10.
Although the number of malaria cases increased, the death rate remained low, and the Ministry of Health attributes this to good case management.
The deaths have not increased, but in the most hit districts we have noted increase in deaths. We are monitoring deaths very closely. Like last week, there were 7 deaths in Hoima Hospital, 5 in Fort Portal Referral Hospital, and 3 in Iganga. We have already dispatched teams there to go and find out why. Because these are hospital deaths, even if people come late, we have facilities to resuscitate them, transfuse them, put them on drip, and save their lives.
Regions like Lango in northern Uganda are one of the most hit, and in Lira City, the number of malaria cases increased from 2,892 in January to 6,069 by June 2022, implying that malaria prevalence, which was at 18% in June 2021, increased to 51% in June this year.
The reason as to why children are more affected, children in terms of immunity, they have low immunity. That is 1. 2, they cannot protect themselves. Even if they sleep under the net, you may find they are unable to hang net by themselves. So it is at the mercy of their parents. So sometimes they may not be all night trying to hang the net, and they sleep restlessly. Most times they are up, they are here and they are there. So it makes them be vulnerable. So those are the vulnerable group. And also another category which is much affected is old age people.
In the area where I am, many people are suffering. Like example, last month in my home area, about 5 people, they nearly died of malaria until they were taken to the hospital for treatment.
Drugs, these essential drugs for malaria are always quarterly released. Sometimes it is released late. You go to a health facility, you find there's no drug.
Several interventions have been employed to curb the increasing malaria cases.
We responded at the center, at the district, and at community level. At the center, government has sent additional medicines, test kits, and mosquito nets to affected districts. We actually doubled their supplies. We also transferred money to districts for radio, for surveillance, and district task forces.
At household level, here are some of the tips that can help you in the control and management of malaria. Make sure that you and your family sleep under mosquito net every day. Do away with stagnant water in your compound. Avoid bushes around your home because they are a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Test for malaria immediately you feel unwell. Get treatment for malaria immediately you test positive, and avoid self-medication. Adia Nakote and Ediolwa, UBC.
Bukwo district is still behind the government policy that suggests each sub-county should have a health center 2 or 3. Bukwo district has an estimated population of 129,000 people, but has 4 sub-counties without any health facility, and locals have to trek long distances to access medical care either in Kenya or Mbale. And as we hear in the following report, the district hospital that would serve as a referral has only 1 ward that caters for all patients irrespective of sex, has no health equipment like x-ray machine, and no mortuary.
Bordering Amdat district to the north, Kwen to the west, and Kenya to the east, Bukwo district has a population estimate of 129,000 people. But with this huge population, access to medical care has remained a burden to the district since its creation in 2005. Here, despite of government policy recommending that each sub-county should have a healthy center 3 or at worst a healthy center 2, 4 sub-counties here do not have any healthy facility and have to rely on the general hospital, which is kilometers away, for medical care.
Created new administrative units, and so there exists about there exist sub-counties that were actually created, and they fell in areas that don't have health facilities. We have 4 of them. And it's already information that is available to central government.
Was still, The facility that acts as a referral has got no male ward, emergency ward, pediatric ward, mortuary, and no X-ray machine, in addition to administration block, which has compromised quality of service delivered. Irrespective of sex, here patients share the same ward. The facility also lacks a mortuary to keep dead bodies, forcing the administration to put the bodies in the same ward with admitted patients.
Even the dead bodies are sharing the same place, in that place there. So really we are affected, and there, like when somebody suffering from TP, it's also put there.
Due to these wanting conditions, the facility that was designed to accommodate at least 150 patients have since registered a decline in the number of patients visiting as the population opt for Kenyan facilities on Bali for health care.
When you see our ambulance, really it is working day and night, transporting our patients to Kapchorwa, to Mbali. And now, the way they are affecting us also, it is terms of the money. The money. People are poor, and when you are told that your person should be transferred to Mbali, they ask you a lot of money, around 400,000.
Due to the mountainous nature of the land, the gap in health sector has greatly affected the inhabitants of Bukwo.
It has been so difficult here in Bukwo because you are aware that Kapchorwa and Bali is very far from Bukwo. And most of the cases, our services, it has forced us to be going to Kitale for medical services, especially even when our people die. We have to rush them to Kitale mortuary to stay there over some time before they come and be buried here.
The disparities in health care for the people of Bukwo prompted this couple, Margaret Sabey and Peter Ole Sabey, to establish this multi-billion health facility, equipping it with all the necessary tools to handle all sorts of emergencies.
We have all services. We have primary care, we have consultation, we will have dental care, we will also have opportunities, we will do emergency, we have surgery, which is theater, we have a out-of-the-state laboratory, and we are going to grow as we build. We have X-ray services, ultrasound, and even echo will be done right here.
Facility management say their aim is coming up with this modern facility to save lives and not profits, something that has raised hope among the leaders.
We did not come here because of a profit to make from the hospital. The life we lived in the US and the money we were making is way more than coming here to pick up a few shillings here and there. We actually came to give back to the community because we thought 50 years from today, 100 years from today, what will people remember about us?
I am already seeing a very big impact because we have seen people coming from Kapchorwa, even some people are coming from Kenya. So just we started 3 weeks ago. So I believe that we are going to have a lot of impact in the region because the services here are really broad-based, and most essential services are here.
Despite of the intervention, leaders have appealed to government to get on board and rescue the population through equipping the available health facilities to avoid locals from trekking distances in search for health care to save lives. According to the district leaders, Bukwo district loses not less than 10 lives a day due to inaccess health care services.
We'll take yet another short break and return with the latest in business.
Nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe tunyola.
Nirvana packaged drinking water is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, makers of Pepsi products. That's life. That's Nirvana.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals, out-of-this-world celebrations.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV. Love it.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using to Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Welcome back from that break, and let's have a look now at what's happening in the latest in as far as business is concerned. Uganda's financial sector players have committed to facilitate production and recovery of the economy. Now, this is through the provision of affordable funds and supporting innovation for enhanced value addition, which is vital in driving export growth. We have more in this story.
Financial institutions must ensure sustainable delivery and access to affordable financial services to the agribusiness, tourism and manufacturing sectors across the whole value chain for successful economic recovery.
You know, when I was in energy, and my brother Kasige is here, and you have a site, you go to the bank and say, there is a mini hydro here, can you fund me to develop it? I'm steering the banks. Take interest in tourism just like you've taken in energy, so that we can be in a position to develop these sites to international standards.
Financial institutions are pivotal as providers and enablers of financial flows, a reason for the 2022 Annual Bankers Conference.
Hearing from the other keynote speakers in the Uganda Tourism Board, clearly there's a need for us to revamp this key sector. We heard that there is an opportunity to create our tourism fund. So those are aspects that the association, along with the key stakeholders, are going to engage in and find ways to partner with all the necessary partners to ensure that we actually get to a time when we actually put together a regional trade and or tourism fund.
Funding uptakes goes hand in hand with expansion of markets, which identifies the source of cash flow. But for the sectors in the limelight, there is a major impediment, and that is constrained funding from the commercial banks.
Commercial banks are not structured to provide long-term funding. They typically offer funding between 5 and 7 years. If you're looking for patient and flexible capital, the development banks come in handy. UDB is a very good example. They are providing long-term funding. It's patient, it's flexible, it's got more competitive interest rates.
Apart from coffee, which is probably your best ambassador around the world, tourists are your ambassadors. They are the ones that are going to talk the wonders of the country. So if you invest in tourism, you are working on your foreign affairs issues. You are sending ambassadors out to the world. And to break that image that sometimes and very often doesn't really match with the reality.
Supported by risk, guarantees can enable the development of key manufacturing subsectors in the country. The 5th Annual Bankers Conference has concluded with the big players in the financial sector vowing to walk the talk in terms of supporting the key sectors of manufacturing, agribusiness and tourism. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
Kampala Capital City Authority, KCCA, has assured road users that all traffic lights will be repaired. This follows continuous complaints over non-functional traffic lights, as we hear in this story.
Kampala City Centre Boda riders have threatened to demonstrate over non-functional traffic lights.
Nze ekisinga okunnuma ebitaala bino webako ebiri ate abatraffiking nga balyoka babeerawo naye weba tebiriiko tobalabako nga bajja wano okubeerawo nti oba bayambeko ku mmotoka zino.
The controller house was actually demolished by a driver. He demolished the controller house, and that's why those traffic lights there are not.
The Deputy KCCA spokesperson, Robert Kalumba, says arrangements to repair the lights have been completed.
Currently, we're in the final stages of procuring a supplier who will put back the controller house and also put back the traffic lights to enable smooth operation.
Boda riders are blaming the city authority over duty negligence, yet they pay taxes every day.
Obubenje bususse jamu asusse bitunyigiriza nnyo okuva ebyavawo kati myezi 5 ebitala tebiddangako.
Procurement is not something that you wake up one morning like on Monday and you procure a supplier by Wednesday. Procurement is something that you have to go step by step. That is why as KCCA we try and follow the law. The issue is soon to be solved. The procurement of the supplier is in the final stages, and soon you will see that controller house back and the traffic lights working.
To road users now at Entebbe Road, the situation is survival for fittest.
Twetomera ogendo labo litomulaba ebitala eri emmoroka ziveeri okakana twetomedde no gamba bannange oba okyavuga ogendo labo emmoroka zivudde eri wansi kwegamba tetukyayera bana bulungi goge mazima.
Kampala Capital City Authority now warns reckless drivers and riders to be cautious while on the road.
I would like to take this opportunity to try and warn these drivers to stop recklessly driving their cars, because they destroy government property. Apart from that, they disrupt activities. It's because of that accident that all that disruption is happening.
Traffic lights that are non-functional are mainly those on Jinja Road, Kampala Road and Entebbe Road, among others. Lydia Chomkama, Andrew Sebida, UBC News.
Women entrepreneurs have been asked to embrace government programs to transform their lives. Now, this has been disclosed by State Minister for Trade, Harriet Ntabazi, at a tour of Small and Medium Business Expo in Kampala. However, entrepreneurs expressed a high taxation challenge that needs to be addressed.
Touring the Small and Medium Expo in Kampala,
The State Minister for Trade, Harriet Ntabaz, said 30% of the parish development model funds is allocated to women. Ntabaz asked women entrepreneurs to follow the policies set for the model for their benefit.
We were not meant to be in the kitchen. Now this government, all the eyes are looking at the woman. In terms of most of the things. Even in the parish development model. Out of the 100 million, Omuluka just gained 30% za mchana. Ku milioni 10, milioni 30 za mchana.
Different exhibitors showcased their businesses and noted a high demand of perishable goods internationally.
We don't have a governing policy, so everybody can come and play, but we should know that whenever a product goes out of this country, it ceases to be a product of the farmer. This is a country product. So Uganda's name could be tainted or could be praised if Uganda took deliberate efforts to promote our own cocoa. Our very own cocoa is very good because the market is responding very well. We have good flavored cocoa, and our cocoa most of the times is used to blend other cocoa from other countries. We think and we pray that government takes an upper hand.
There was, however, concern of high prices of fuel that has hindered their progress. Warimba Irina, processor of organic bamboo, asked government to support bamboo farmers.
But Elgon has not been talked about, and yet we are also facing the same challenges of soil erosion, of mudslides, but bamboo can act as a...
Some of the exhibitors highlighted some challenges faced.
The market. So we realize that for us we are producing a high quality coffee at price, then other people produce poor coffee and make it cheaper, and it becomes a challenge to compete with
get the job to elderly land people. We see that we must not be spraying.
Biased with the importation of good quality products, Ugandans believe that we do not produce quality.
For UBC News, I'm Nakano Patricia.
Meanwhile, government has committed to restructure the Small Business Recovery Fund due to the low-scale uptake by the targeted persons. The Director, Macroeconomics at the Ministry of Finance, Moses Kagwa, says the COVID-19 Recovery Fund of 200 billion Ugandan shillings has not been to the expectations of the business environment.
Financial institutions must ensure sustainable delivery and access to affordable financial services to the agribusiness, tourism and manufacturing sectors across the whole value chain for successful economic recovery.
You know, when I was in energy, and my brother Kasige is here, and you have a site, you go to the bank and say, there is a mini hydro here, can you fund me to develop it? I'm steering the banks.
Limited awareness and stringent conditions attached to the 200 billion shillings Small Business Recovery Fund have hindered government's objective of stimulating the economic environment.
Fund is managed in Bank of Uganda, where the commercial banks take the applications of their customers to the Bank of Uganda, and the Bank of Uganda authorizes the grant of the loan. That has been seen to be a long process, and so the uptake has been really low because of that and the fact that maybe there hasn't been enough publicity.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development is to meet with the central bank and commercial banks to harmonize the procedures and the conditions attached to this fund.
With Bank of Uganda and the commercial banks which are participating in this exercise, to see that we can have the procedures eased and then people can access the funding.
The Association of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises is protesting the module used to disperse this money since there was no involvement of SME's body for proper allocation and documentation.
The initiative was approved. BOU simply owned it and kept quiet, and then placed some adverts in the newspapers. This is not where SMEs are. So the central bank ought to work with us. The central bank ought to be here. We invited them. We actually invited them and they didn't show up, which is unfortunate. So we want them to be more open, to engage. If they want to manage money on behalf of SMEs, they have to be willing to engage. If they're not willing to engage SMEs, then they should leave money for SMEs to other entities to manage. And they concentrate on macroeconomic policy and things of that sort.
Many small businesses are not bankable, which creates a disconnection during the commercial bank's requirement for accessing this money. According to Walugembe, the catered for categories will continue benefiting at the expense of the clustered group.
Now, the banks want us to raise the threshold, but the challenge is once you raise the threshold, it means you're still serving the same group of SMEs, of businesses that are being served by UDB. There's a missing category that we want to serve. And right now, those customers are not they're not being banked. And so the banks are finding it difficult that within their current portfolio, they are not being able that are not attracting sufficient numbers.
Government committed 100 billion shillings to the Small Recovery Fund. Through the central bank, commercial banks committed a supplement over 100 billion shillings to make it 200 billion shillings. This fund was established by government to support small businesses recover from the adverse impacts of COVID-19 at 10% interest rate on loans. Abdul Nasir Luwama, UBC Business.
Now, poor sector skilling, poor remuneration of workers and inadequate training institutions have been cited as great hindrances to the growth and development of tourism and hospitality industry in Uganda. The Director, Higher, Technical, Vocational and Education Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Jane Egao-Okow, has clarified that there is need to streamline skilling for the world of work in the tourism sector for industrial development.
The tourism and hospitality sector is one of the fast-growing industries in Uganda, contributing immensely to the gross domestic product. The sector, however, is facing challenges of employable skills, prompting many service providers to employ foreign nationals instead of Ugandans taking up the jobs. The Director of Higher Technical and Vocational Education Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Jane Egao-Okow, says the solution to skilling gaps have been addressed in the new TVET policy.
We have now transformed the curriculum for lower secondary education to ensure that learners acquire practical skills, and we are committed to replicate this at all levels of education. I think we all now appreciate that even at other levels of education, you can actually go TVET and we can make people more practical and more useful than they have been with the theoretical education that we've had in the past.
The chairperson, Tourism and Hospitality Sector Skills Council, Herbert Byaruhanga, says a joint working mechanism between the tourism and hospitality industry will help to bridge gaps in the employable skills.
We have so many people coming from the universities, from tertiary institutions. They want to come in the tourism sector, but when they come to work in the tourism sector, they have failed to understand the needs of the clients they are serving.
Belgium Development Agency, Enabel, country representative in Uganda, Tom Van Est, expressed a desire to work with the tourism destination companies to set up occupational experiences and skilling to boost the tourism and hospitality sector.
So we'll be working together with the school on what we can do to support the school in Jinja. We'll of course continue with non-formal training, but like you said, Dr. Jane, even more employer-led, private sector led, to make sure that the private sector doesn't say we are developing skills that are not good enough. So we need to move away from that. It's a mental shift and work-based learning even more.
Meanwhile, the Uganda Tourism Board is set to crack down the facilities which do not conform to the tourism and hospitality standards come January next year.
For some time, we have not been as critical or as rigorous in making sure that these enterprises actually comply with the law.
Uganda Tourism Board has over 4,000 registered facilities in hotels and restaurants alone. Hopefully, after such interactions, the sector players will come up with solutions to address challenges like remuneration and skilling for the world of work. Joseph Okow, Henry Muganga, UBC.
Sports news now, and Golola Moses will be hanging up his kickboxing gloves come December 2022. As he prepares to retire, he spoke to UBC TV about his kickboxing journey, being a champion, and his next venture in the line of sport.
The year 2010, Uganda was graced with rare talent, a motor-mouthed man with physique. Golola Moses, a ghetto boy who would later become a darling to many.
I wake up sometimes when the mosquitoes are sleeping. Next day which other people can't see.
And as he camped in the ghettos of Kawempe before elevating to the hills of Kabale, Golola became a household name.
Yeah, this is Golola Moses of Uganda. I'm here in Mabila Forest, camping with the tigers, with the hippopotami, with the pumpkins. Also camp with them here.
The suburbs of Kawempe in the outskirts of Kampala produced a joy to watch with a boxing background, and later held the Kickboxing Federation on his shoulders. His first intercontinental fight against Andres Nagy of Hungary was the most popularized, and since then he has never looked back. A fight to remember was his challenge for the world kickboxing title against Abdulkadir Rahim, attracting more fans close to those at Nambole on a good Uganda Cranes Day. Travel, fame, Golola has had it all.
One of the historical lakes in the world, second in the world, first in Africa. I've been eating crayfish. That's all.
But as they say, even the one who tills the soft ground goes home. The East and Central African champion is retiring.
I think it's the right time to hang up the gloves, because I thank God that I've got what I was praying for. I've got the fans, I'm a champion. I've fought everybody.
He has also expressed his grievances towards the neglect of kickboxing sport, echoing that as an individual, he has not really had an intangible government support throughout his career.
Chovola abantu nze sigenda kulinda gwanga because nti osanga sirirake omanyi waliwo abantu abalirake.
His next ventures, he wants to contribute to the development of kickboxing, champion social campaigns in environmental conservation, gender empowerment, among others. Golola will fight South Sudan's James Majok in his last match due 9th December 2022. James Majok defeated Golola in Juba late last year. And as he retires, he leaves a legacy and big shoes to fill. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Golola Moses of Uganda, not that of UBC. And indeed, we shall miss him the moment he hangs up his gloves and, of course, his those jokes that he always cracks. Now to the Commonwealth Games, and with Uganda's Commonwealth Game contingent now almost at 90% in Birmingham, all the teams have trained ahead of the games that start with the opening ceremony on Thursday. John Barnes Sentamo is in Birmingham and sent us this report.
After safe travel by Uganda's contingent to the Commonwealth Games, most teams have held their initial training sessions. The netball camp is buzzing after being joined by overall team captain Peace Proskovia, who is optimistic.
Looking at most of the athletes that have come this time round, most of them have come with experience.
Some of us didn't have experience, and that time it was my first Commonwealth. It was the first Commonwealth for so many people. That comes with a lot of panic and anxiety sometimes. But building up from that, let's expect the best. It's going to be fine. I believe that the medals are going to be multiplied. As long as you stand by our side, cheer us up to the end.
The Cranes are in a group alongside Trinidad and Tobago, England, and Northern Ireland and Malawi, and start their campaign against New Zealand on Saturday. The national badminton coach William Kabindi believes his players are well suited for the venues that have been well organized for a big occasion that the Commonwealth provides.
I want to tell you that what has been happening at home, we still stand on what we've been doing. Right now it's a matter of days, and then we are up for the competitions. I'm sure we are good to go. Right now we're just getting used to the courts here. We've tested the shuttles, they are good. So we are going to perform.
Badminton is represented by 8 players, 4 boys, 4 girls: Kasirye Brian, Tracy Naluwoza, Fajila Shamika, Daniel Wanagalia, Kenneth Mwambu, Friday Atama, and Sharifa Wanyana.
Me and my team, we are in a good state and in a position we are really feeling fit enough that we can really move our bodies to whatever directions we shall be moved on the court. So I'm happy, I and my team, we are all looking strong.
The boxing team of 6 that includes Teddy Nakimuli, John Achobe, Owen Kibira, Yusuf Nkobeza, and Joshua Tukamuhebwa is in good stead.
Everyone is in his weight. They are trying just to maintain they are healthy. No one is sick on our squad. Of the 6, the 5 and the 1 girl, we are all good and set for the games. Uganda should expect the best from us.
Uganda is represented by 75 athletes from 11 disciplines including squash, rugby, weightlifting, wrestling, badminton, table tennis, and swimming.
Our reporter John Barnes sent more reporting there from Birmingham, the UK, where the Commonwealth Games are going to take place. And that brings us to the end of News Tonight. Thank you so much for having kept us company. My name is Rukidi Kiijanangoma. I wish you a blessed night and see you tomorrow.